Good morning. So organized planning, the crystallization of desire into action, the sixth step toward riches. So we're on the sixth step now. You have learned that everything man creates or it acquires begins in the form of desire. That desire is taken on the first lap of its journey from the abstract to the concrete into the workshop of imagination where plans for its transition are created and organized. It's cool right there. It's fine right there. There's no need to move it. That's good. I strategically put it there. Right there. It's good right there. In chapter 2, from a different angle, in chapter 2, you were instructed to take 6 definite practical steps as your first move in translating the desire for money into its monetary equivalent. One of these steps is the formation of a definite practical plan or plans through which this transformation may be made. You will now be instructed how to build plans which will be practical. Ally yourself with a group of as many people as you may need for the creation of carrying out your plan or plans for the accumulation of money, making use of the mastermind principle described in a later chapter. Compliance with this instruction is absolutely essential. Do not neglect it. Before forming your mastermind alliance, decide what advantages and benefits you may offer the individual members of your group. Thank you. In return for their cooperation, no one will work indefinitely without some form of compensation. No intelligent person will either request or expect another to work without adequate compensation, although this may not always be in the form of money. C is arrange to meet with the members of your mastermind group at least twice a week. We're doing it once a day. And more often, if possible, until you have jointly perfected the necessary plan or plans for the accumulation of money. D is maintain perfect harmony between yourself and every member of your mastermind group. If you fail to carry out this instruction to the letter, you may expect to meet with failure. The mastermind principle cannot obtain where perfect harmony does not prevail. Keep in mind these facts. I would write these facts down. First, you are engaged in an undertaking of major importance to you. To be sure of success, you must have plans which are faultless. Second, you must have the advantage of the experience, education, native ability, and imagination of other minds. This in harmony with the methods followed by every person who has accumulated a great fortune. No individual has sufficient experience, education, native ability, and knowledge to ensure the accumulation of great fortune without the cooperation of other people. Every plan you adopt in your endeavor to accumulate wealth should be the joint creation of yourself, and every wealth should be the joint creation of yourself and every other member of your mastermind group. You may originate your own plans, either in whole or in part, but see that those plans are checked and approved by the members of your mastermind group. If your first plan fails, try another. If the first plan which you adopt does not work successfully, replace it with a new plan. If this new plan fails to work, replace it in turn with still another, and so on, until you find a plan which does work. Sorry. Right here is the point at which the majority of men meet with failure because of their lack of persistence in creating new plans to take the place of those which fell. The most intelligent man living cannot succeed in accumulating money nor in any other undertaking without plans which are practical and workable. Just keep this fact in mind and remember when your plans fail, that temporary defeat is not permanent failure. It may only mean that your plans have not been sound. Build other plans. Start all over again. Temporary defeat should mean only one thing: the certain knowledge that there is something wrong with your plan. Millions of men and women go through life in misery and poverty because they lack a sound plan through which to accumulate a fortune. Your achievement can be no greater than your plans are sound. No man is ever whipped until he quits in his own mind. James J. Hill met with temporary defeat when he first endeavored to raise the necessary capital to build a railroad from the east to the west, but he too turned defeat into victory through new plans. Henry Ford met with temporary defeat not only at the beginning of his automobile career, but after he had gone far toward the top, he created new plans and went marching onto the financial victory. We see men who have accumulated great fortunes, but we often recognize only their triumph, overlooking the temporary defeat which they had to surmount before arriving. No follower of this philosophy can reasonably expect to accumulate a fortune without experiencing temporary defeat. When defeat comes, accept it as a signal that your plans are not sound. Rebuild those plans and set sail once more towards your coveted goal. If you give up before your goal has been reached, you are a quitter. A quitter never wins, and a winner never quits. Lift this sentence out. Write it on a piece of paper in letters an inch high and place it where you will see it every night before you go to sleep, every morning before you go to work. When you begin to select members of your mastermind group, endeavor to select those who do not take defeat seriously. Some people foolishly believe that only money can make money. This is not true. Desire transmuted into its monetary equivalent through the principles laid down here is the agency through which money is made. Money of itself is nothing but inner matter. It cannot move, think, or talk, but it can hear when a man who desires it calls it to come. Planning the sale of personal services, which is for us. Intelligent planning is essential for success in any undertaking designed to accumulate riches. Here will be found the detailed instructions to those who must begin the accumulation of riches by selling personal services, aka real estate. It should be encouraging to know that practically all the great fortunes began in the form of compensation for personal services or from the sale of ideas. What else except ideas and personal services would one not possess of property have to give in return for riches? Most leaders begin as followers. Broadly speaking, there are two types of people in the world. One type is known as leaders and the other as followers. Decide at the outset whether you intend to become a leader in your chosen calling or to remain the follower. The difference is compensation is vast. The follower cannot reasonably expect the compensation to which a leader is entitled, although many followers make the mistake of expecting such pay. It is no disgrace to be a follower On the other hand, it is no credit to remain a follower. Most great leaders began in the capacity of followers. They became great leaders because they were intelligent followers. With few exceptions, the man who cannot follow a leader intelligently cannot become an efficient leader. The man who can follow a leader most efficiently is usually the man who develops into leadership most rapidly. An intelligent follower has many advantages, among them an opportunity to acquire from his leader the major attributes of leadership. So here are the following attributes of leadership. I don't know if you guys want to write them down. Ready? You guys ready to write them down?
Yes.
Okay. Number one is unwavering courage. Bless you. So so the first thing that you guys want to do if you want to be a leader is have unwavering courage. Unwavering courage based upon knowledge of self, of one's occupation. No follower wishes to be dominated by a leader who lacks self-confidence and courage. No intelligent follower will be dominated by such a leader very long. Number two is self-control. I would write that down. You want to be a leader, you need to have self-control. The man or woman who cannot control himself can never control others. Self-control sets a mighty example for one's followers, which the more intelligent will emulate. Number three, a sense of justice. I would write that down too, a sense of justice. Without a sense of fairness and justice, no leader can command and retain the respect of followers. Number four is definiteness of decision. Definiteness of decision. The man who wavers in his decision shows that he is not sure of himself, cannot lead others successfully. Number five is definiteness of plans. The successful leader must plan his work and work his plan. Leader who moves by guesswork without practical definite plan is comparable to a ship without a rudder. Sooner or later, he will land on the rocks. Number six, the habit of doing more than paid for. One of the penalties of leadership is the necessity of willingness upon the part of the leader to do more than he requires of his followers. All right, we'll stop at number 7. So Monday we'll start off on number 7 because it's already like 10 o'clock or 9:50. All right, you guys are going to continue writing because I have, hey, good morning. Because I have some notes that I was late this morning because I didn't go to sleep till like 1 a.m. just writing this stuff down. All right, so we've been talking about business talk, and yesterday I gave you guys a bunch of different components that were essential to you guys, the expectations of your customers. You guys remember that? And I think that it's been helping you guys a lot. Yesterday we took 2 contracts, one at 560,000 and it's dual representation. And at the same time, we took another $1.3 million contract with the buyer representation. And this was just based on using the 10 components of what your clients are expecting. Be on time, all that stuff. That's basic stuff. You guys need to learn it. I'm going to give you guys mastery this morning because I've always thought, what can I teach that people can use for their business? I want you to understand that in the last few weeks, you guys have been finding out the process to every single aspect of your business. I gave you guys 10 points, and if you look back through your notes, there's a bunch of information, but I wanted to get more into the mastery of it. And number 1, I want you guys to write down your portfolio management. How am I managing my portfolio? And the book, Think and Grow Rich, keeps talking about definite purpose. It keeps talking about specialized work. It's strange enough that it talks about a follower, a leader being a good follower. Every time that I had a conversation with God, I always asked him, please make me a very, very good follower, because if I can't follow, I'm not going to know how to lead. So I would ask for that same thing. At the same time, I'm always looking for people to take control all the time. And the reason I want to do that is because I need to make a very clear understanding of what it is to follow versus saying I'm always going to lead. You know, I always tell people at the restaurants too, what would you have if you were in my situation? What would you be eating? And that's just me looking for somebody to take over. Does that make sense? Because it's very tiring sometimes to make your own decision. But portfolio management is very, very important. What do I mean by portfolio management? How will you manage customers that you've already closed? That is, all the people that you've already done the transaction with, ask yourself, how do I manage those individuals so that I can continue that relationship? And then write this down, 25% under portfolio management. How do I make 25% income from those past clients every single year? Your business should get to a point where you already know you're going to close 10 transactions that year because you've closed a bunch of clients over a 5-year period. Does that make any sense? And that's portfolio management. Pay attention to that. Number 2 is the planning process. And this is what Think and Grow Rich is talking about. How well are you planning out your day? How many phone calls do you have to make every single day? How many doors do you have to knock every day? How many open houses you have to set up for that week? How many customers do you have to contact? How many pre-qual appointments do you have to go on? How many no's do you have to get for you to get yeses? Does that make any sense? What is your planning process? You need to ask yourself this question every single day at night. Number 2, how am I developing more business? I would write down business development. What is your business development? What are you doing to stay in touch of these customers? Did you completely forget that you have a drip system on your KV core where you could constantly email these people? Abraham, I don't care if it's 10 people. If it's 10 people, good. It allows you to manage that drip campaign, and it allows you to understand that those 10 customers are going to get an email reminder from Abraham that, hey, I'm still here to help you with some real estate. Or what's coming up next? Father's Day, right? That is that Father's Day is coming up. Wouldn't you say that's an important part of it? Why don't you have a business plan for you to drip campaign all of the fathers? The worst thing that can happen is like, oh, Abraham and Teresa, they wish me a happy Father's Day. By the way, I have to buy a house. Let me buy it from them because you stay on top of mind. We forget those type of things because then it's like we're only looking for that new transaction to close a deal. Understand that there's business development to your business. You need to make sure that you're constantly developing something where even Mother's Day, Father's Day, I could go down the list of American, what would you call them? Holidays? Are those holidays or celebrations? Yeah. All right, the number 4 thing that people need to do is client management. We discussed about setting up an appointment with the clients that you have closed, Teresa, and the clients that you have closed, anybody that's watching, how are you managing those customers? Are you calling them every single quarter to find out about their assessment or what's going on with the property? You'd be surprised how many of these people buy the property, fix it, and then sell it, and they don't list with the same agent that helped them because they feel like they've lost contact with the person. And automatically the consumer thinks he doesn't care about the deal. He didn't call even once about it. All of a sudden, some other shiny object walks up to them, they get the deal, and guess what? You've lost $15,000 just because you didn't manage the relationship with the customer and picked up the phone to do a very, very easy follow-up. Guys, you guys are gonna feel terrible when that happens because I've walked into places and I'm like, hey, Jesse, I called you like 5 times. You never answered because I was doing busy work and they've already bought a property. And I'm like, no, that much money just went down the drain because I didn't pay attention. That's why it's important for you guys to understand that there is a process to managing your actual clients. Start off by doing your CRM. And I forget this too. I write down notes. Yesterday I shared some leads. And those leads, as I was sharing them, I'm like, why am I not entering it into the KV core and pushing them to agents? You know what I mean? Why am I just doing a very simple text? So even those things apply for me. You know what I mean? Because I forget to do those type of things also. But your client management is very important. I wrote down number 5, which is what is your client experience? Do you remember we talked about standards yesterday and the expectations, right? So you guys need to work on those. What's your client experience from the beginning to the end? I've been pushing the checklist for buyers. If your client experience is seamless and it can be duplicated, your customer is going to love you all the time because they're going to be like, man, this is so professional versus the, hey, Edward missed this, and that. How come I didn't get this, and that? Worst part about managing that experience is that if you don't have it down to the T, a lawsuit comes up, and guess what? You're like, well, what did I do during the whole process? Versus a lawsuit comes up, and you're like, nah, I have everything set up. They signed everything. Like, I'm going to be able to sleep at night. Only reason I'm telling you is because I've been there. I've been in the lawsuits where I'm like, man, what's going to happen? Am I going to lose my license? Am I going to lose everything? I'm able to avoid that by understanding that if my client experience stays the same, I know that I'm going to get an agent visual inspection signed every single time. I know I'm going to request a home inspection every single time. I know I'm going to do an appraisal every single time. I know I'm going to go over the disclosures every single time. I know I'm going to send the escrow paperwork directly to the customer so that they fill it out. Does that make sense? So let's go over this all over again. How many deals do you want? Write down how many deals you want. Come on, be passionate about it. If you want 10 deals before the end of the year, which should be equivalent to a GCI of $80,000, why can't you get 10 deals? We are barely about to finish month 6 of the year. That's not unrealistic. 10 deals by December is not unrealistic. I wouldn't say it's unrealistic, but what's holding you back from getting those 10 deals? Are you planning not to work on Saturday and Sunday? Are you planning not to make your phone calls that are necessary to be made? Ask yourself those things, and that's why I'm giving you guys the actual business plan to how to manage your portfolio, your planning process, your business development. So ask yourself this question: what is your capacity? Abraham, can you do more than 1 deal a month?
Yes.
You think your capacity is 2 or 3 deals a month?
Yes.
Somewhere around there. So write that down. Write down my capacity is 2 deals every single month. Ask yourself how many deals you can do. I always hear about these top producers and all these people that are like, yeah, I just did 10 deals. I'm like, there's no way you did 10 deals. The capacity level is not there. And then you get on there and you check and you're like, oh, you closed 1 deal in 6 months. He just posted just listed coming soon, in escrow, in inspections. Like the same house. Like
we know a lot of people like that.
So what is your capacity? Does that make any sense? What is your true capacity? I've reached my capacity. I want to get more players to make more money. So what is your quality control? Yeah, what is your quality control? Like, what are you doing to make sure that this is a quality product? And I'll call you guys on it all the time. Like, I have clients that are like, how come I didn't go directly into escrow? Your process is not set up. Some clients have different expectations. So we talked about how many deals do you want to do, but what is your true goal? Like, for me, if I was you, Abraham, your goal would be own your own home. Teresa would do the exact same thing. Those goals need to be set in stone so that you can get to that goal. It's not dumb to think about those type of things. So write down, I need to create the same experience time and time again. Create the same experience over a specific period of time. Quality control is the only thing that's going to allow you to create the exact same experience. I look at it all the time. Here's the most important part in the planning process. I want you guys to think about what your business does. Like, what does your business do? How is the business done? Like, for me, when I go take a listing, I'm like, how is this part of the business executed when I'm taking a listing? Yesterday, we talked about the 10 expectations of the customers. So in my lack of sleep, I wrote down 2 things. What is the seller process and expectations? What is the buyer's process and expectations? They're 2 different things. How about you guys start by even setting expectations? Are you guys done writing it down? Okay. Here's the one that stood out to me when I was talking to my advisor. He says to me, Jesse, what is the average lifespan of your client relationship? Have you guys noticed that when you guys are in the escrow, for the people that are doing escrow, for 45 days, you are talking to this customer at least once a day, at least every other day, at least 2 times a day. And then all of a sudden the escrow closes and you've gone completely missing.
You ghost them.
You literally cut off the average lifespan of your relationship with this customer. It happens to everybody. The CAR statistics show that 80% of the consumer will forget about their realtor 3 months after the transaction. That only means that there's so much business out there, but at the same time, it really, really makes you understand that you need to understand how long that lifespan of that relationship is going to move forward. If you close Alejandro, that lifespan should be 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You need to have the ability to go back 3 years and say, hey, that guy's still buying from me. You know what I mean? We like, there's a story, we met with a general contractor, we met with the customer, and the customer was telling the general contractor, I've known Jesse like even before all of this stuff in real estate. Yeah, she said he used to take the bus, and I'm like, man, imagine how serious I took the lifespan of that relationship. That we're like, you fast forward 12 years and this lady's still speaking highly of me. Remember I told you guys about those gatekeepers? Yeah. Once you break through them, those people are always going to do transactions with you. That's an example. And if I calculate the lifespan, I'm like, that lifespan is like $100,000 lifespan. Does that make any sense to you guys? So what's your goal? Create some experience over time, quality control, think about what the business does. The new client list, what is the process and how do you schedule the communication? How do you keep the clients informed during the process? I want you to write that down. How do you keep the clients informed during the process? Anyway, that's all. So this is our affirmations.